Good people of a great nation, it's a pleasure to welcome you to a fresh edition of Development Focus with Jide Ojo on this day, the 10th of February 2021. So soon, we are almost approaching mid of February. On this edition this morning, I'll be talking to a veteran journalist, broadcast journalist of note, someone that has been an household name for 42 years. I'm not sure if he's not holding some records. He started broadcast journalism at the age of 18 and just retired from the service of Nigerian Television Authority. I'm talking of no other person than Alhaji Hakeem Ayinde Shuaga. You're welcome to this show this morning.
Thank you very much. My pleasure being here with you.
Thanks much for the honor. You've been around for 42 years of media practice, and you still look so young. People will think you are about 50 or thereabout. What's the secret of your youthfulness?
Thank you very much. Asorogbayi of Nigeria. Jide Ojo.
We give glory to God.
I am grateful to be invited, and I thank God for life, for being around to witness life now and be here with you.
Yeah, it's a pleasure.
I have been seeing you on television and on the media. You're very, very vibrant on the media.
Give glory to
And I have noted you. So I'm glad to be here with you.
Thank you very much for the honor.
I thank God for the opportunity of life and for the way I'm still looking. Thank you for saying that I still look young. In fact,
I hope you are not marrying another wife in retirement.
No, I thank God. My wife is watching. I should think so. She's watching, and my wife. If I can marry a wife now, how can I marry a wife again at 60? I can't marry anybody again.
Anyway, that's on the lighter note. Let's talk briefly before we go into the business of the main reason why you are here. Let's talk about your brush with COVID-19. So many people out there still believe that there's no COVID-19. It's a ruse. It's nothing. Tell us very briefly about your brush with COVID-19 last year. Yes,
COVID-19 is real. It is real. And I thank God for sparing my life, because after my brush with COVID-19, some of my friends who were trying to even get across to me, a particular friend was trying to get across to me when I was at the center on isolation in Katsina. He later died of COVID-19.
Wow.
By Adewi. So if I think of things like that, one is grateful, and one is sad but grateful to God for sparing one's life.
Yeah, that's to let you know, those of you doubting Thomases who still believe, no, it's not my portion, it doesn't exist. Now you are hearing from a survivor. We thank Allah for your life, and because if it had gone the other way, I won't be having you on the set this morning.
Yes.
Now, you started media practice in 1978?
78, yes.
When you are just 18 years of age. Run us through. How did it happen? Was it orchestrated? Was it planned? Did you deliberately want to go into broadcasting?
You see, I was one of those who took the first jump in Nigeria in 78.
Wow.
And when we took the first jump, I was coming back to Abeokuta. I went to take the first jump in Aitoro, at the Comprehensive High School, Aitoro. On coming back was when I ran into a crowd at Ogun Radio in 78. And I just branched. I saw they were having an audition, so I took part in the audition. And lo and behold, I was selected amongst the over 200 who had done the audition before me. I was one of the 8. That's how I joined broadcasting. And since that time, after I was successful with the audition and sat in for 8 weeks and became an announcer and became very popular and all that, I just forgot about school and started.
You were earning big money then.
Yes. 100 naira was big money.
Yeah,
in 78.
I can just imagine.
100 naira was big money. So earning that, with 100 naira you could do anything. You could do many things in Nigeria.
So you were a pioneer staff of Ogun Radio, but
Ogun Radio started in 76.
Oh, okay.
I joined in 78.
78, okay, 2 years after. So you told me about your experience with Ogun Poly, now Moshood Abiola Polytechnic. How did that come about?
Yes, Ogun Poly was started in 78.
Okay.
But by 1980, they decided to start mass communication as a course of study.
Okay.
And I happened to be one of the first pioneer students of mass communication at the Ogun Polytechnic in 1980. So I joined Ogun Poly in 1980 and graduated OND in 1983 and HND in 1985.
Wow. And now, you've held several positions within the broadcast journalist spectrum. Run us through your experience working with Ogun Radio, Ogun Broadcasting Corporation, your foray to Lagos, then Abuja. How did all this happen?
Yes, I had experience doing basic announcers course at FRCN.
Okay.
That was my first experience in Lagos. And after that, I continued with OGBC in 1980. But by 1981, I went to FRNTA on attachment from the Ogun Polytechnic. I did attachment in Ogun Poly, at NTA Lagos, 1981. And then, so that gave me the exposure to NTA. By the time I completed my, so after I had my attachment, I had gotten connected to NTA. So I was going for programs because already I was a known presenter.
Yeah.
So I had programs I was hosting on NTA, like Old Soldiers, Musical Veterans. I was presenting for as a freelance. So it was easy for me to transit to NTA.
Okay.
So when I became after my service, I served in Cross River State when Uyo was Cross River State.
Yeah.
And after my service, I came back. Then
that was in 1986.
85, 86.
85, 86. Okay.
So then they had begun what we call the structural adjustment program.
Incidentally, I finished my secondary school in 1985. Okay. You can just imagine. you went for your national youth service in 1985. Yeah, go on, sir.
So when I came back to then we had the structural adjustment program. So I didn't get an immediate job, but I was freelancing.
Okay.
When I came back in Lagos and in Abeokuta, and it was very interesting. Before I decided to join NT Abeokuta in 1987.
Okay. Now let's look at the state of media in the 70s, 80s, before digitalization, when everything was being done manually. What was your experience at that time? Let's start from there before we compare then and now.
Yes, I remember the late Willie Thomas. He was my colleague in Ogun Radio.
Okay.
I think it was in about 1987. He began what later became OGBC2.
Okay.
it was just a experimental thing. He just used the flyaway kit or something to power it, and then there was that that second radio station that was broadcasting just music, you know. So the potential was there at that time for media convergence and media hype, you know, going to because at that time you had only, when you have Ogun Radio, maybe FRCN, the media was very limited, very limited radio stations and TV stations. But now you can see in Abuja alone we have more than 20 radio stations.
Sure.
And how many TV stations? In Abuja alone, NTA has more than 5, has about at least 5 TV stations in Abuja alone. So now the number of TV stations and radio stations across Nigeria is very wide, very, very big. But
yeah,
then
before we come to that comparison, Malaji, I'm just wanting you to take us through the radio and then the television in the years of dinosaur. You know, what does it mean to prepare news, to cast, to program in the analog era? I mean, when I was growing up in Ibadan, it's you only tune in to watch TV at 4 p.m. That's when the station opens, and then it's closed by midnight or thereabout. But today we have 24-hour station. But I want you to just run us through as a veteran. What does it? When you started, how was your average day? What is it? If you want to run a show on a radio or on TV, what are those things you need to do? What kind of cameras do you use? What kind of microphones were available those times?
Thank you.
That the youth of today will know, you know, what it used to be in the years of yore.
I began when it was experiments were being done on Ogun Radio, for instance. Ogun Radio began with the started 24-hour broadcasting.
Wow.
Because before it was just 12 hours at the max.
Yeah.
12, 18 hours. 18 hours. What we were doing 18 hours. So we began that experiment of 24 hours on radio. And then OGTV was starting breakfast television. In Nigeria, there was no breakfast television. NTA was just open at 4 and close at 12 at that time.
Yeah. So
it was in OGTV that started breakfast television, open in the morning so that people would watch, maybe close at about 12.
Yeah.
And then, you know, things like that. So I think experimentation of broadcasting, particularly with the extended hours, started in Ogun State, Ogun Radio, with OGBC and OGTV. So we had that kind of flexibility at that time for time. And people, they brought you see, the professionalism was the watchword. It was, you must do it the way it was meant to be done. You know, you go through the way that a script will come, will go through a proofreader, a sub-editor will sub-edit before you get to the editor, you know, and not like that. Just all those stages must be gone through before eventually it comes to broadcasting. You know, the newsreader will now read on air. So there was that bent for professionalism, and they're following the wrong.
So what kind of microphone, what kind of equipment were you using at that point in time?
The
cameras and all of that.
You see, most of the equipment that were being used were imported. They were the original microphones that were being used by BBC. You know, because of course you know that Nigeria borrowed so much from Britain, from BBC. Sure. It was like an extension of BBC. So it was the microphones that they were using that were being used. The BBC and Germany were they were the original suppliers of the equipment that were being used in Nigeria. So they were the original equipment, and they're very durable and very sturdy.
Okay, let's come back to your roots. You are from Abeokuta, but born in Lagos.
Yes.
What's your feel? Do you have any bragging right as an indigenous of Ogun State? And let me put this in context. Media practice in Nigeria started from Ogun State with Iweroyin by Reverend Henry Townsend in 1896 or 94. Yes. You have told us now that Ogun Broadcast or OGBC started the 24-hour radio transmission. You said OGTV started the breakfast show when even NTA was waiting till 4 p.m. to entertain and educate its viewers. Yes. And then Ogun State has caused so many firsts. Yes. The former president of Nigeria, Chief Olusegun Obasanjo, is from Ogun State. Former Chief of Staff, the Defense Headquarters, Oladipo Deya, is from Ogun State. You know, Ogun State is also the spiritual headquarters of Nigeria. You know, considering the number of religious institutions, I recall that some years ago, I've written 2 opinion pieces in my column in Punch on the primus inter pares position of Ogun State. As an individual of Ogun State, do you have any bragging right? What do you think is making Ogun to tick?
Yes, thank you very much. I think education. Education is one thing, and the people of Ogun State, generally, we see that our children must be educated. Our parents put a stress on educating the young ones. That is why parents would spend the last money they have on them to ensure that their children are educated and get the necessary wherewithal to support their education. So I think that's the number one stress, the stress on education, and that is one thing that has propelled many young people in Ogun State to do well in their chosen endeavors. I was born and raised in Lagos, but my father wanted me to go back to Abeokuta for secondary school. That was why I had to go back to Abeokuta to Baptist Boys High School, Abeokuta. Because from Lagos, I had to go back to Abeokuta because he wanted good education for me. And he believed that I won't get the best in Lagos. So that was the stress. The stress is on education. Every Ogun State people, the parents, you see that they will always emphasize on their children getting good education. And that, I think, is the starting point.
So you went to the same school as Chief M.K. Abiola, as former President Olusegun Obasanjo, and very many notable Nigeria. That's Baptist Boys High School, Abeokuta. What does it make of you? What do you think was the niche that gives you as an individual?
Thank you. You know, it's association. The BPHS was a school founded on a hill, Okegunya. That was where I was admitted in 1973. So there was that tradition of the students of BBHS learning the basics that would make them succeed in life. You know, one thing is that we were not children of rich men in quote, or big men. No, we were just ordinary people that were given good education, good Baptist education. It was stressed, Baptist education. you may be a Muslim, you may be a whatever, but you had to go through Baptist education. And it was a stress on doing the right things, punctuality, study, being truthful, being respectful, respect your seniors, respect your teacher, and all those things that you must adhere to while growing up, and be punished for wrongdoing appropriately. So you knew that there was punishment for wrongdoing, and there was some credit for doing well, or some benefits for doing well.
If you compare education in the 70s when you were there, and now, compare the state of education in Nigeria at that point in time and now, what conclusion will you draw?
Well, I would say that because of the advancements in technology, I think that children should be better educated now, I think. But what stress do our children give to? Do they bend backwards to give themselves education? Like in those days when we would ensure that we read books. We were reading books and books and books. James Hadley Chase, all those novels, where it was a pastime to read books and books and books. But do children now read? Do they read? That's it. Maybe
it's now the visual. They
Yes.
watch.
Yes.
They watch. They browse the net and all of that. So the assignments now is e-learning. I mean, you and I didn't have the privilege of e-learning, but they are doing e-learning now. So you think things are going better or going worse now?
I would want to think that things are getting better.
Okay.
I want to think so.
Okay. Given the innovations and the research and
developments in society.
No, let's now go back to your first love. You've walked us through what it used to be in the 70s, 80s when you started your foray into the broadcast media. Now, how has Nigerian media, how has it fared in your own estimation? In contemporary times?
Well, in contemporary times, the media is not. The media is trying its best, but it's been derailed by the advancements in technology.
How do you mean?
For instance, the social media, WhatsApp, Facebook, Instagram, etc. They are Twitter, yes. Twitter, they're derailing
Telegram,
the media focus.
I mean, it's supposed to be complementary.
Yeah, it's supposed to be complementary, exactly. But unfortunately, because of the race to break news, many who are untutored in the art or the practice of media divergence or giving out media information, they just rush to the media and just give whatever. What is not researched or verified, and just give it out. That is why we have so much going out on the social media. That is not correct.
How much threat do you think issue of fake news and hate speech is a threat to Nigerian media practice and development?
It's a big threat, a huge threat, in that it has caused so many damages and so many harm. Of course, you and I know, our viewers who are watching, they also know what has happened in our society through giving out fake news or giving out unsubstantiated information and information that is biased or a propaganda to tarnish reputations. That's in what you might call hate speech. So we know the harm these have done to our society, and so my suggestion is that the journalists who are trained, who know what is right, should occupy the space, the media space. The media space, even on Twitter, even on Facebook, on WhatsApp, to correct all these things. For instance, I belong to some groups, some WhatsApp groups, and whenever I see something that is not right, I quickly intervene. I correct. I say this is not correct. You know, I think that many media people who are trained and who know, who can reflect, should intervene and take and wrestle to take that space, the media space, from charlatans and those who don't know, who just publish whatever, so that we go there and correct and intervene.
Were you ever a in the unions while you are in media practice? Were you part of the National Union of Journalists?
Yes.
And what positions did you hold?
I was secretary of the Nigeria Union of Journalists, Ogun State, in 1987.
Okay.
87, and I think I ran for the chairmanship of the Ogun State NUJ in 89 or so, 89 or 90. Although I lost. I lost to the late Tunde Oladepo of the Guardian, who was eventually killed as chairman of the NUJ in Ogun State.
Wow, what happened?
Well, he was just murdered. He was murdered. I think maybe could be hard killers or whatever. I don't know.
Okay, and now let's come back to you. What will you consider as the high point of your media practice in Nigeria?
High point. Well, I have so many high points. So many high points, but I can think of many. The one that I won't forget is being the one to anchor or to anchor the first and maybe the only so far that I can remember, when NTA would go and cover an event outside Nigeria and use an OB van, an NTA OB van.
Outside Nigeria?
Yes, NTA flew an OB van with the plane, this seaplane of
Hercules.
Hercules. NTA flew an OB van to Liberia, Monrovia, Liberia.
Wow!
I flew in that plane to Liberia, to Monrovia, Liberia, and with that plane we did a live broadcast of the inauguration of President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, the
first female
president in
African president.
Yes, in 2006.
Wow! So
I anchored it. I was the one who motivated it, and the late
that was huge. I mean,
the late Jimmy Ate was a facilitator. He was the director news, ED News in NTA, and he made all the arrangements, and I was the one who executed.
Wow! So any other high points?
That was a high point. So many high points. Looking back, so many high points. I can't forget that one. Of course, I can't forget going to Israel. You know, when I went to Israel for the on on a 1-month study tour. The Israeli embassy took about 8 Africans to go to Israel to go and watch, to go and see the Israeli experience, to study the place. Went across Israel to the occupied territories too, Jerusalem, everywhere, and that was a high point.
Okay, at some point in this, in the last decade or thereabout, you were made the general manager of Ogun State OGN TV. Do you consider that to be an high point? And how long did you last? And what were your major achievements in OGN TV?
I was appointed general manager of Ogun State Television on the 6th of June 2011. And I thought I was going there for just 1 or 2 years, but eventually I enjoyed being in Abeokuta, being my roots, and I was in Abeokuta till the 13th of October 2015.
So you were there for 4 years?
4 years, yes.
Okay. So what were your major achievements while
well,
in the
when I was in OGBC, OGN TV, I began 24-hour broadcasting.
Okay.
Because before then, OGBC, what was doing was just breakfast television and all that. But to start 24-hour broadcasting, I started that in July 2011.
Okay.
I began 24-hour broadcasting, and while I was there, we bought outside broadcast van. We're broadcasting from Ilaro. The inauguration of the Olu of Ilaro was covered live, and many other events were covered live on OGN TV. And we had our presence on the World Wide Web, on the social media was enhanced while I was there. We had the OGBC site, OGN TV site, and we're streaming live on OGN TV, so that anywhere in the world you could watch OGN TV. And while I was there, so many other.
What about training and welfare?
Of course, training was enhanced in my period. It was a stress. I thank God, while I was in OGN TV, I was able to bring in fresh staff. Over 20 fresh staff were brought in while I was there, and so many innovations, training and new equipment, and clearer signals, and things like that.
Okay, now fast forward that to your last tour of duty in Katsina as GM, General Manager NTA Katsina. What were your high points with that, and what were you able to achieve?
Yes, I thank God. NTA Katsina is now 24 hours.
Wow.
Yes. Before I got to NTA Katsina was they were broadcasting 6 hours. 8 hours at the best. Before I got there, 8 hours. When I got there in 2017. I was able to bring the broadcasting to over 10 hours. Before 2018, we're doing 12 hours. Then by 2018, we got to by March we got to 18 hours. And we remained 18 hours until shortly before I came was when we began 24 hours.
Okay.
How? We're able to get there the solar power. With solar power, we now go 24 hours.
Okay.
We're able to install solar facility so that the station can run 24 hours. And we built a playback system, which is put in Star Times. And with that, NTA Katsina runs 24 hours. They've been running 24 hours since November 20, 2020. Yes.
Okay. You seem to be a man with a Midas touch. Let's now look at media, Nigerian media and national development. What role do you think Nigerian media has played, is playing, or should play in national development?
Well, it is very good for the media to be the point whereby opinion and ideas are coalesced to motivate national development. You know, when we have opinion generally, when they play, then we can be able to now sift and determine that these are the right way to go. You know, is when you have a debate and you have this opinion, that opinion, everybody brings their opinion, and then you can now sift and I say, this is the way to go. I think that should be the role of the media. If media should create that platform whereby Nigerians can see experiences, can learn, and then determine to better our lots and move forward. Like when we have issues, we should look at those issues, bring examples from here and there. The media should be that platform whereby, a national platform whereby Nigerians, the Nigerians leaders and followers can look and say, okay, you know, where they have all the experiences, all the samples, and then we can now decide to pick and say, okay, in fact, by the time that these experiences are played on the media, the leadership can see that this is the right way to go, you know, and go there.
Okay, let me be more pointed. If you look at Nigerian drive for independence, the media played a key role. People like Chief Obafemi Awolowo established Nigeria Tribune 1949. We have Daily Times since 1926. We have West African pilots of Nnamdi Azikiwe, and they all shaped opinion towards the liberation of Nigeria from colonialism. If you look at our over 3 decades frolicking with military coup, the media played a key role in emancipating us from military juntas. Whether you talk of the First Republic, Second, Third, Fourth, media was there in the background, championing, shaping opinion, asking for return to civil rule, which eventually, we thank God that in the last 21 years or thereabout, we have had uninterrupted civilian rule. What more? How do you juxtapose, if you juxtapose the role of media in the pre-colonial and post-colonial Nigeria and in the contemporary times, how do you rate Nigerian media in terms of practice and contributions to national development?
Well, the Nigerian media, I would say, has an enviable place in that Nigerian media has contributed immensely to national development, in that it's a gauge of how society is. The media reflects society, and our media still does that. The Nigerian media reflects the Nigerian society, you know, for good or for bad. In fact, anybody who is outside Nigeria, when you see the Nigerian media, you know what is happening in Nigeria. You can get a picture, a very studied picture of the Nigerian situation from looking at the Nigerian media. And I think that that is one role the media should play, to reflect society and point out all the bad sides so that society can see itself and then take a cue and make corrections. You know, I think that the media reflects us. Whatever we are doing, for those who can do media study, when you sit back and look at the media, you can analyze and determine that okay, this is the way things are going. You can predict from the tone of the Nigerian media about our society. If you look very, very closely, and you have an analytical mind, you can evaluate our society with our media. You can predict, and then you can go forward. So I think the media does that very well, in that some things that are the way we report. Many times we report in a way that is very educated, and sometimes very ludicrous. That anybody who is a media watcher, a very studied one, can take a cue from the Nigerian media and then make his forecasts or projections.
Okay, let's look at the broadcast media in Nigeria, which you are very familiar with, and look at the private and the public media. What role do you think they've been able to play? Is there really a competition, or do they complement each other in the real sense of the word?
Well, they do. They do, in that most of when we say public media and private media, those you call private media, they play public roles, essentially.
Yeah, that's true. Public
roles. You see, so because it's a society whereby you cannot have media and you start to praising yourself. Many people won't watch you. You have to tell them about things that concern people. The media is to reflect the lives of people and tell them about themselves, not about you who owns the media. And if that's what you're doing, then your media won't go far. That is why those who own private media, it's not about themselves, but about society for which the media operates. And I think the role that the private media play in Nigeria is complementary to that of the public media.
Yeah, that's true. Now, we are in a state of in a tension-soaked situation now, given the challenge of insecurity. What role do you think Nigerian media can play in reducing or curbing insecurity in Nigeria?
Yes, it's about a studied approach, and bringing examples across the world. You see, I think that a way for us to resolve many things that are wrong in Nigeria is for the media to take a studied approach by analyzing and looking at events and issues the way that they really are. Open them on the bare and tell us, how is this problem approached elsewhere across the world? What are they doing to solve this problem? And that way we would have a way forward, because the world is not just we are not alone in the world. It's a huge world, but the right things are done the same way across the world. It's only the wrong things that are different. So doing the right things, practice elsewhere, is what we should compare and then suggest for our leaders to say, this is the way to go. For instance, the world says there are still those who rule by force or military rule. How many are doing that in the world today? Only very few countries. Only Burma, Myanmar,
yeah,
has gone back to military rule. But it's a pariah. The world is against the guys who are doing that, because the world knows that this is the right way to go. So Nigeria should copy. We should take examples of what is good across the world, not the one that is bad. Let's not be outside the world. Let's follow the studied and the wise world, those who are doing the practice of things and that is giving them good results.
Now, you and I belong to, we are friends on Facebook, and I see you as a culture ambassador. Let's talk briefly. What's the role of media in promotion of culture, tourism in Nigeria?
Thank you. I think the media, like I always say, the media should bring out the good, support the good, and of course play down on the not so good. I won't say the bad, not so good. So the media should be able to help us promote our good culture, the good things that we do, the way we speak, the way we talk, the way we dress, the good things that we do. The media should reflect it. The media should reflect all the good things that we do, the good sides that we do. The media should reflect it. And then the media should play down on point it out, say this is a bad thing that we're doing. That way, that's the way that society grows, because we learn from pointing out the good and the bad.
Okay, let's look at how troublesome is it for you, the issue of charlatans or fake journalists operating in Nigeria. So many people have been caught. It's been a worrisome development across many media groups, that you see people just go print ID cards for themselves and claim to be representing some media houses. How do you think we can overcome this issue of charlatans in media practice in Nigeria?
It's unfortunate, but that's our society. People have to survive. It's about survival. People have to find a means of surviving. So those who are doing that for the fact that they have to live. So they find a way to live. You see, some of them are educated. They have training, but they have no jobs. So they have to find a way to go and say, okay, I represent social media, whereas they do not represent those media. And it's a society. Society breeds incidents like that. Such situations are bred by society. I think the way to about them is about development. When there are to provide opportunities for people, those who have education, give them opportunities to practice.
Were you still in Katsina when the Kankara boys' abduction took place? How did the NTA Katsina report that very incident?
No, I had left Katsina. Okay. I left Katsina, but I know because it's a practice and a way that we have put down. I can imagine how they would do it, because we have a way that we follow. Whenever anything happens anywhere, NT Katsina will go there and get the report. I'm sure that NT Katsina would have reported the incident because it was reported on network. I saw it on network, so of course from Katsina, and then would have gone to do follow-up reports on the incident, interview parents and the relations of the students that were abducted, and report on developments on the story.
On a final note, because our time is up, how do you what would be your recipe for media practice in Nigeria, given the conflict between drop in advert rates, ability to survive, the issue of social media that you brought in, And the fact that people are saying that don't we have too many media houses already, and then you find out that many media houses are also they have embraced social media now, that they are doing live streaming of their programming. They are even for print media you find them online. So how do you think, given your wealth of experience, how do you think media practice can be better packaged and better executed in Nigeria?
Nigeria is a developing country, and our population is now put at over 200 million. So you can imagine that who are those who are to give the people news and entertainment. So you can imagine why there are so many media houses, and there will still be more, because if you have 200 million people, you can't expect that it will just be one network that will serve everybody, or one radio station will serve everybody. No. In some towns and cities, you can have 20 radio stations. We have the social media, we have the networks, and so we are bound to see many more to develop. The point is to see how do you get more of the eyeballs of the attention.
Okay.
You as a practitioner.
Okay.
How do you get more of them? What do you do to invite more people to come to you?
So that you stay afloat.
Yes. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Maybe some other time in the nearest future we'll bring you back. That's the size of our package on the first discussion on development focus with Jide Ojo this morning. I've been speaking in the last 55 minutes with the veteran broadcaster Alhaji Hakeem Ayinde, a household name in broadcast journalism in Nigeria. I don't know, maybe last word, what do you want to do post-retirement? You are now in retirement. Any idea? Are you tired?
No, I'm not tired. I'm a young man.
Yeah, you are a young man. So he is available for national service. You can support this program by advertising your products, services on this segment or any other segment of development focus with Jide Ojo. We look forward to your patronage. Stay tuned with us. We still have one more segment of discussion after this timeout. Thank you very much and stay tuned.